NSFW, what are some things that a guy should never ever tell his wife? Time and memory are funny things. You may remember someone as the best you ever had, and maybe it was even true at the time. But years of remembering and embellishing can alter how we feel, and make what we remember seem better than it maybe was. I remember one girl in college as the best I had for years, but what made her the best was really the frequency. We were both young, fit, and eager, and spent months humping each other's brains out. Was it as mind-blowing as my current brain remembers? Or am I comparing it unfairly? I was around 19 and cuddling with my then boyfriend when he turned to me and said in a loving tone, "I love you, fat." I was like a month out from inpatient treatment for anorexia. I can't remember what his explanation for saying it was, but he was absolutely mortified and apologized about it profusely. Another time, he looked me deep in the eyes and said, "I love you, Zoe." After sex a time, Zoe was his ex. We remain friends and I still like to occasionally give him shit about both of these. He is completely, unintentionally tactless and it's hilarious. I got pregnant last year, and one thing we used to do all the time before I was pregnant was take baths together. We live in an old apartment building with the original porcelain tubs, so they're huge. We're both also a bit more cautious about waste. Well, I was about 33 weeks pregnant and we take a bath and he says, "You know, this is really great. We don't need more water because you displace so much." He thought it was a great compliment until I looked back at him angrily. "You will surely understand that I have certain needs that you, as a 54-year-old, can no longer satisfy. I'm very happy with you and I value you as a good wife. However, after reading this letter, I hope you will not wrongly interpret the fact that I will be spending the evening with my 18-year-old secretary at the Comfort Inn. Please don't be upset. I shall be back before midnight." When the man came home late that night, he found a reply to his letter on the dining room table. "My dear husband, I received your letter and thank you for your honesty about my being 54 years old. I would like to take this opportunity to remind you that you are also 54 years old. I would like to inform you that, while you read this, I will be at the Hotel Fiesta with Michael, one of my students, who is also an assistant tennis coach. He is young, virulent, like your secretary. He is 18. You, being a successful businessman with an excellent knowledge of math, will understand that we are in the same situation, although with one small difference. 18 goes into 54 a lot more times than 54 goes into 18. See you in a week's time! ! Few months into the relationship, my ex once told me I'm bad being on top and his ex was amazing at cowgirl position. I was so upset and ashamed I ended the video call abruptly. He then apologized by saying, "But you're much better at blowjob than she was," as if that would erase the hurt. I never ever wrote him again after that, even after he'd apologized numerous times. That single comment alone obliterated my confidence and comfort in having sex with him, cause I couldn't shake the thought of him thinking of his ex whenever we had sex. It didn't help that he kept saying my thighs were too big and I should eat less and burn more fat on my legs. That's why he's an ex now. Edit. Thank you so much for the supportive replies. And to answer why would he say that, since many wonder, I did ask him why would he compare me to his ex, and he said he was just being honest. He told me how he doesn't like sugarcoating words and lie to me, so he'd say his honest opinions to me. Told me it might seem harsh but he never meant to hurt me and that it was all to help me become better. In other words, he was being a total asshole and proud of it. I still remember when my husband, BF at the time, met his buddy's wife, and texted me, "Wow, friend's wife is hot." Which, I've met her. She is drop-dead gorgeous, but why would you say that to your girlfriend, especially when you have the opportunity to look at what you wrote and go, maybe don't send that. Edit. A lot of people think I was upset by my now husband finding other people attractive. I wasn't. We laughed about the text. I don't care that he looks, because of course he's going to, but I don't need a text about it. Sounds like my parents. My dad drunkenly told my mom that she made him feel stupid and he wished they hadn't gotten married. She let it go the first time. The second time he said it, she began talking to her lawyer friend about divorce. Of course, my father was shocked that his homemaker wife would actually try to divorce him. He fought it pretty hard and refused to move out of the house for the first few months of their separation. Sounds real similar to my ex's parents. She didn't have cancer but had breast surgery. The husband said he didn't like it, even before the surgery, and then got a job in another country. They both moved on with other partners, more or less, but their daughter, my ex's older sister, in her 30s, wouldn't accept that her mom had moved on with someone else and still demanded her parents get back together. Some people don't grow up. She was both pregnant and engaged as well. My mother was visiting with us when my wife decides she's going to mow the lawn. It's something I usually do, but since it's the first dry day in forever and I hadn't seen my mom in almost 2 years, my wife kindly does it. About halfway through she opens the door and yells inside to ask where the gas can is. I tell her. My mother suggests I go gas up the mower for her. My response was, if she wanted me to do it for her, she'd have said that. If I jump in and do it for her without being asked to, she'll take it as an insult. It took me several times of jumping in to do it for her to learn this. Anyway, it's one of those shitty gas cans with a dumb little switch that are a pain to use. About 5 minutes later my wife comes inside to ask for my help. I'd already put on my shoes anticipating it. I acknowledged that those cans are pieces of crap and hard to use and showed her how I did it, while spilling a bunch. Anyway, 2 years happily married to an independent woman. My husband once said I married my mother, and I'm still plotting his death. Edit. Wow, didn't expect this kind of response. Thanks for all the upvotes. And wow, an award. Also, I replied to a comment, but a lot of people haven't seen it. I am nothing like this mom. Total opposite. That's why she hates me. Lol. My husband and I have gone to couples therapy and he realized that he is an exact replica of all of her terrible behaviors and he was projecting it onto me. He didn't realize that he behaved in the same hurtful ways and thought that everyone else, mostly me, was the problem. Thank goodness for therapists working us through that sweet childhood trauma. If you ever get this question again, the best answer is something that would improve her and she can actually fix without costing money. Can be to quit smoking, have better stamina so you can both go hiking/biking/whatever, bake pancakes more often, not leave dirty laundry on the floor, whatever. The important thing is to pick something she recognizes as a behavior she now shows, and can actually improve. You are being honest, but you are not choosing something that she can't help herself, like breast size or how tall she is. My dad didn't say something that she shouldn't tell my mom. Instead he never told her what he has to tell her. After they separated, my mom told me that he never felt loved by my dad. He never told her he loves her. No compliments. He never even greeted her on her birthday, on Facebook at least. Also after they've broken up, my dad started using another woman's photo as his profile photo on Facebook. And he never did that to my mom. I mean, I know it's not a big deal for everyone else but it was for my mom. Until now she uses the pictures of me and my little brothers collaged as her photo. He used to do the same thing with my dad. It might be her own little gesture to show others how much she loves us. What made me cry is I didn't know this and I thought my dad posted about her on Facebook often. Turned out it was my mom who posts herself and editing photos, adding love quotes, etc. and posts them as my dad. My mom greets herself every birthday, posting using dad's FB because my dad never did. So yeah, they've broken up. My mom found someone else, and that was the only time my dad told her he loved her. I don't know if my storytelling is okay, but after my mom told me this, I now understand why she left him. And from now on, I always remember that if I love someone, I let them know often and always tell them. Wouldn't hurt, right? Never tell your wife something designed to hurt her out of anger. You live with her and know what will hurt her the most. Don't weaponize it. Never say something that implies you find someone else more attractive. Some relationships you can acknowledge someone else is good looking, some you can't. But either way, your words should never state or openly imply someone else is more attractive. Never talk harshly about the people she's close to. You can carefully express annoyance about her friends or family, but don't be petty or hateful towards them directly or in her presence. Never blame her mood on her period. A woman's mood may be exaggerated, sometimes a lot, by hormones, but the feelings are very much real, and any implication that it's all about her period is dismissive. When I asked how I looked to my partner, after getting all dressed up, he glanced up and down, shrugged his shoulders and remarked, "You look just like every other mother at the school gate." The unfortunate fact is that many mothers at the school gate where I live have sadly not taken care of themselves for whatever reasons. I'm not judging them. Most happen to be incredibly lovely ladies. Sometimes life happens, but this comment hurt me to no end. When I make consistent effort and look better than I did many years ago, it was unbelievably hurtful. Men, if you don't have anything good, or at least constructively helpful, to say to your wife, either smile and nod or keep quiet altogether. My husband was starting to have problems with his erections. We didn't know, at the time, this was the beginning stages of it caused by his diabetes. So, we were trying everything to get him hard and maintain his erection. I was trying everything, BJ, hand job, different positions, etc. Out of frustration he says, "Oh, never mind, you just don't do it right." Even though he apologized, I never fully got over it. I would hear those words echo in my head. It destroyed what little confidence I had. I still carry it to this day. Never tell your partner they did something badly if they do something to be good to you. If they cleaned the apartment on their day off but there was still sand on the rug in the hallway, don't point out the sand and say they missed a spot or that they did it badly. Say that it was fantastic and you really love it. Then you can say, "Oh, I think I pulled some sand in with me. I'll just go and dust this hallway mat." Next time when they do it, they will remember the hallway mat too. Don't criticize your partner when they are trying to make you happy. They won't do it perfectly the first time around, that is okay. If you criticize your partner when they are trying to make you happy, they will stop doing it. If you tell them it was fantastic, that you loved it, they will put more effort into it because it's worth it to them, because it makes you happy. You should also tell your partner how to train you the same way, so you become someone that makes your partner happy. This is really good advice. I do see both sides. However, because my dad often does half-assed things for my mom and then gets mad when she doesn't fully appreciate them, on one hand, I get that she should be grateful he's trying to make her happy. On the other hand, the gestures glaringly show the fact that he doesn't know her at all, and doesn't listen to her when she speaks. Like ever. On Valentine's Day, he got her a massive heart-shaped box of Elmer chocolates. Her least favorite kind. He didn't have to spend $30 on that grand gesture. She would have been so happy if he would have gotten her one single $1.35 bar of Lindt chocolate. She talks all the time about how she can't stand fake chocolate, how it gives her a headache, etc. Anyone who knows my mom knows she hates that kind of chocolate. My own boyfriend said, "Doesn't she hate that shit?" when I told him what Dad had gotten her. So the fact that her own husband hadn't paid attention to her for years and still, after 30+ years of marriage, is still getting her things he should know she doesn't like, makes the gesture hurt more than anything. She said she'd rather have gotten nothing, because it would have hurt less. Another time, Mom expressed a desire to have a raised garden in the backyard, to keep the weeds out. Dad made her a raised garden and planted it and everything, but used a regular yard dirt for it. If he'd have listened to her when she told him what she wanted, he'd have known that you're supposed to put new soil in there to keep the weeds down. So now she has a raised bed, but one that is essentially useless, as it became overgrown with weeds almost immediately and was too hard to keep up with. That she's only upset because she's PMSing. My husband knows my cycle better than I do, which isn't saying much because I really pay no attention, and I swear he just expects me to get bitchy, so anytime I get irritated in that window of time, he acts like I'm not to be taken seriously. For the record, I do get PMS, not severely, but I recognize when I'm getting irrationally bitchy, because I feel like I just want to be mad. So when I make a reasonable complaint from a rational place and it gets attributed to PMS, it's infuriating. Like, it's reasonable for me to get mad that you walked past a heap of cat puke 10 times today but waited for me to get home to clean it up. Until you know how she feels about how something looks, don't comment. My mom bought a dress I thought she looked really good in. She liked it too. She tried it on in front of my dad and he said he didn't like it. All the happiness drained from her face. She got changed, handed me the dress and said it was mine now. I tried to convince her how nice she looked but nothing changed her mind. A backhanded comment from dad, I don't even think he really looked, changed her whole perspective. Don't tell them an ex's gift, or an ex's anything for that matter, was better than yours. At my partner's last birthday dinner him mom asked what the best gift he'd ever gotten was. He immediately said oh insert XGF name who I was with for a really long time got me these awesome custom Marvel Vans like 5 years ago. I don't think anything has topped that, and he gushed about it for a good 5 minutes. It absolutely hurt cause I had just bought him a really expensive gift I knew he'd been wanting for a while. So yeah, don't do that. I think this is okay but only in certain situations. My GF used to have a super short fuse so when something didn't go her way she'd freak out about it. When she did, I'd tell her it's okay, calm down, we'll deal with this, or there's no point in being upset about something you can't control. It's wasted energy that you could be using to prepare for the outcome, or sometimes just hold her. It's all context though. Obviously you don't wanna be telling your so to calm every time they get upset. That would be emotionally restrictive and isolating. When someone can't manage their feelings too well, it's important that they know their feelings are valid, heard, and that you care about said feelings. Sorry for rambling, but I just felt like writing and, who knows, maybe it'll spark insightful discussion. I had the radio on the other day and the second date thing came up. It was a show where they would call people who had recently been on a date and ask them how it went and why their partner refused to go on a second date with them. Apparently a lot of times they leave and call the other partner and ask the same questions while the original caller waits and listens. This time, the girl had been on the phone explaining that everything went just fine on the first date. So she waited and listened while they called the guy and asked him about it, and not only while she was listening but while they were live on the radio. He said his reasoning was her breath smelled kinda bad. That's gotta suck. Similar to the lasagna story, but I made banana bread for my husband early in our marriage. I was pleased with how it came out as I had tried a new recipe. I've always made it from scratch but this recipe really baked up well. So pleased in fact that I said, "Is this the best banana bread ever?" And he very thoughtfully replied, "Yeah, it's good, but my aunt makes the best." It's all okay, friends, because a while later I decided fuck it, why make from scratch, I'll buy this box of Betty Crocker, and my husband tested it and exclaimed, "Oh, this tastes just like my aunt's banana bread. This recipe is great." Yeah, he still hasn't lived it down. I have been married for 26 years and my wife has from time to time complained about gaining weight. I never agree with her. Generally I won't say anything about it, but a cardinal rule I have is to never say a word about her weight even if it is a fact. It is a no-win situation. She can say it, but I refuse to agree or lie to her. I might say I like her the way she is and I don't care, but never will I tell her she has gained weight. Of course she has. Who hasn't after knowing someone for 30 years? I know I am guilty. I'm an Uber driver. Every now and then I have passengers hit on me. I'm very oblivious to it, but I have had some very obvious ones. I came home and told my wife. Why? Because I'd rather she hears it from me straight than from someone who heard from someone who heard from someone that it may have happened. I found out a long time ago it was much easier to just tell the truth on everything. Yeah, some people have hated me for the truth, but sometimes the truth hurts to hear. I've also garnered a ton of respect for being truthful all the time. My BF. You know that's one way I like, Insert stripper's name here. Better than you. She knows more metal than you do. Why he thought it was appropriate to say there was any way he liked a stripper better me is beyond me, but thankfully I'm a nice girl and he still has his balls.